It's been over 2 weeks, and I was supposed to do my recording yesterday, Tuesday, but I haven't because I was so caught up with this whole reading the Naruto Gaiden, which, by the way, is ending next week, Thursday, if you go by the leaked chapter. But if you go by normal schedule, it will end on the Monday, that's 2 weeks from now, the Monday. But anyway, enough about that. I was supposed to record much earlier, but I got so distracted by Unravel, the English cover song. It was so well done. That person deserves so much credit. I even liked it. I favored it. It's so good. Then again, Unravel is just a great song. It's so great that it could actually erases a lot of bad traits of the Tokyo Ghoul anime. You don't even have to like Tokyo Ghoul, the anime, or even the series itself. Just hear that song. It's amazing. Even the acoustic is just beautiful. So you got one that kicks ass and one that's just so mellow and so beautiful. Alright, that's not how we should start this podcast. Let's start this over. So, Sparda's World Podcast is back, and this is episode 25. Yeah, 25. I'm doing good. I'm doing well. Still want to do more. I still want to perfect this more. I still want to make it more, more accustomed to my likings. But that's something you had to really, really have to keep experiencing. And, even though it's been the 25th episode, I gotta still do more of it. I gotta get still better equipment or something like that. And, of course, I have to improve myself as well. My whole speech impediment and everything else. So, nobody's perfect. And even so, I'm really happy to be back again. And hopefully you still subscribe to me or still catch on to me with this whole podcast, as well as the extras that I will start to fill up more. Especially for next week, there will be a new extra that's going to cover the Naruto Gaiden, the overall thoughts. So prepare for that one. That should be up on Friday. That's right, Friday. But now let's talk about this week's Tuesday or Wednesday, because I am recording on the Wednesday rather than the Tuesday, since I had to do a lot of catch up and a lot of delays. But I also even have myself a good news that if you recall that I took an exam, I passed. I'm happy I passed. Now I'm going to get a great promotion. Just imagine the possibility. So, I'm so happy, and I had to thank you guys for wishing me luck, not just through the podcast, but like also through the Tumblr page, the forums and whatnot. You guys, I know sometimes some people would like to say, wishing luck is just for the wimps or whatever they say, but I still take it to the heart, and I really appreciate for you guys to actually give me that support. And now that I passed, it's not too much things would change in terms of my busy schedule, but just the amount of the ways I could help my family out as well as myself and everything else. So I'm really, really happy to get this promotion. And now I'm also happy to coming back for this podcast. So it's like all these great things coming to me for those who wait, which is me. So, that applies to everyone. Good things comes to those who wait. So, for me, it took me 3 weeks, and I finally got my result, and I couldn't be more happier, as well as my family. So, you just gotta stay positive. You guys just keep believing in yourself for that. It's the old usual saying, but it's really true. It's definitely true. All right, let's not talk about myself, but I'm just excited to talk about that one info that I couldn't help myself. I apologize, but I still wanted to thank you guys for wishing me the luck. So, there's so many caught up news. I do know that Dragon Ball Super, the manga chapter, is actually released, and I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to read it, and I'm going to give you my thoughts in the Tumblr page, and I'll probably give a little insight in the next podcast episode. But I haven't read it yet. I'm going to check it out myself. The anime is definitely coming out next week. It's kind of unbelievable, to be honest with you. The Dragon Ball is coming back with a new episode or a new series, whatever. Either way, Dragon Ball is back on TV with new material. Not a rework, not a remaster, a brand new material. So it seems very bizarre to even think about that. But here we are. So I'm interested for nostalgia's sake. I don't think it will be the best thing in the world. I don't think it will be the greatest master anime of all time. I don't know, whatever. It's just going to be fun. Let's see what happens. So I have to catch on that. We have a lot of Boruto, the Naruto, the movie info. And we have the more voice cast. And then we have like, we have a lot of more info. Because the movie is coming out. We're less than 2 months away from the movie. And the gun is about to end. So you might as well start advertising the hell out of it. And to me, it seems like they're advertising far more than the last. I think. But it seems like there's a lot of more stuff they're putting out to make everybody remember, hey, we got Naruto. Naruto technically ended in chapter 700, but still, we still have Naruto. So I'm guessing they're still trying to get everybody's attention. Will it work? Who knows? But they sure put in more advertisement than I ever thought. So don't be surprised to see a giant tower that's like 80 stories high with a giant Boruto. I don't know. That would be some scary sight. So basically, we have a lot of new info. We got like a commercial, 30-second commercial, which we thought it was only the only case we have until they released a full trailer. One of those trailers that you pretty much got only one trailer and that'll be it. Everything else would be PV. Everything would be promotional. Everything would be a little sneak peek of the movie, and you probably have to wait for the openings and the endings. I don't even know if they do that for the endings nowadays, but something you have to wait for the opening to showcase the movie preview. So the full trailer was released. I already made a comment. You could check out my Tumblr page. It's up there. It's still up there. It's not that far behind. It's still recent. To give a long story short, I'll say I'm a bit underwhelmed. Maybe because the way how is the trailer presented, it seems very fillery. Like, it just doesn't seem like a very creative work. It just seems very straightforward, generic storyline. And I know it's Boruto focused, but this is coming from the maker himself, Kishimoto. So why not just do something a little bit twist and turns rather than being this predictable? Which is the more weird part is the movie trailer seems like they pretty much give you the entire plot line of the story. Like, literally from the beginning to the end. You got one, Boruto seems so upset. You got this whole new generation. And then you see, Boruto got so upset that he knocked the cake off. And which, by the way, is not his. It's his sister, which is pretty cruel. Pretty jerk, actually. I don't even know if we should get behind him for that. And then, we have him wanting to train with Sasuke. And then Naruto give him a pep talk. Boruto tears. Bad guys comes. They fight. Boruto comes in a fight. And that's and then he gets praised by Naruto and Sasuke telling him, Boruto, go! So, it almost feels like you got the entire plot right there, right? That's how I feel. And I don't like the idea that he just give you away everything. It's not just visual, but just the plot line itself. But other than that, it doesn't seem so... I don't know. It just doesn't seem so riveting. It doesn't feel that creativity. I know you should see the movie before you completely judge. I mean, it kind of happens to a lot of movies, realistically. I just don't feel that much confidence in this movie to be that impressive. Maybe the animation, it does look good. That's a bunch I can say. But I don't know. In a way, even though I was a bit against it, the only thing I was against it was this whole Sasuke and Boruto stuff. It seems like it's just too much focus on Sasuke. I haven't read Gaiden, but I keep hearing in Gaiden, Sasuke gets more focus again. Why? But we'll see what happens when I get to the overall thoughts the next week. But, when I was against that idea. But, I would have given it a chance with the whole tuning exam thing. Maybe it would have been something interesting. Then you have a villain. It's like, the villain doesn't even doesn't even have anything to say, doesn't have that much of a backstory. Probably the only backstory is something related to Kaguya, which no one cares because she was just a very weak villain overall. I don't know. Needless to say, I'm not interested at this time. I am reading the guidance to get myself hyped for the new generation characters and how it works and everything else. Maybe then it will be something worth noting, but I kind of doubt it in a way, but we'll see. Well, another thing about Boruto the movie is that they would give away a one-shot of Naruto in a Hokage ceremony. That's right, they're not using it in the Naruto Volume 72, the final volume of the series, but they're giving you away in a one-shot that you have to go to the movie theater. Why is it that way? I have no idea. Is it too little too late? Yes, it is. Even though it would be okay to even get one still, why you bother to do it now? I don't know. For all I know, it'd probably be basic, probably be a average, usual ceremony thing. Who knows? It's so too little too late. Even though that's not just even though that part won't solve everything, the problem with the ending, because it don't. But wouldn't that be nice just being the chapter itself? But, the whole build-up for Naruto to be Hokage is already weak. So him being the ceremony is just like, okay, he got it. But whatever. Man, so yeah, they're giving away that. And it's like, they have 2 million copies. It's interesting to even say that because the last only made 1.5 million or around 1.5 million from what I recall. So 2 millions. I guess that doesn't mean everybody could get it. Unless you could share. I don't know. Maybe you could ask for like 10 for one guy. I don't know. But it sure seems easy to get it. So don't try to push away. Don't try to get in first day pre-sale because you are guaranteed to get that one shot. 2 million. Think about it. 2 million. And there's only 1.5 million watched the last. That was the highest. Don't push. Don't go rash because it's going to be so many. Not that many people will be going there. I don't know if it'd be more than the last. I don't know if it'd be less than the last. I don't know if it'd be about the same. But still, it's guaranteed that you will get one. Well. But hopefully something good will come out of this Gaiden thing. At least it will end this whole Naruto thing. Even though there's 2-3 novels coming up, whatever, it doesn't matter. There's some random stories. Doesn't really matter too much. But either way, we can only just hope that it's just everything ends from there. At least for the time being. Please. You have other series. Black Clover, Boku no Hero Academia. Support them. Do something about them. Stop supporting old series. Please. Support the new series. That's all we ask for. Shonen Jump Weekly. That's all we ask for. Such a neat chapter, and when I say neat, I meant Fairy Tail 441, because now we're finally getting started this arc. And I know I haven't I haven't reviewed the last chapter because, I was away, or more like just took a hiatus. But, for what it is, it has been interesting so far. It seems promising. I'm hoping the best that they really not going to squash these whole entire continent or Arbalest Kingdom, or no less. And hopefully we will have a full-fledged war. That will be the better route. Or something that doesn't say Fairy Tail just took care of everything and you don't have to touch a thing. I don't want that. I really want Fairy Tail to go there to do what they have to do to get Makarov, but cannot defeat that Arbalest Kingdom because there are just so many guild, and then you have this whole entire, the old entire you have God Serena. I think that's how you say his name. So that's just too much, and it cannot downplay. It cannot underplay that. Yes, I know Fairy Tail is well known to do that, and it does bother me from the past experience of Fairy Tail. But still, this is a good chance to change it up, and this is a good chance to to make this series into something interesting. Long time ago, it used to be such an interesting series. And it's still a fun series. I give it that. It's still fun. But there's some parts that really makes it hard to keep following because there's so many similar situation and a similar solution. And then, it just brushed it off a lot of things. I gave a break for the last chapter. I'm sorry, the last arc. Because the last arc was mainly to show off the Fairy Tail upgraded ability, upgraded maneuvers, upgraded all around. Everybody has to show off their power because this is time skip. A year later, they have to show off, they have to prove their point, how powerful they are. Especially now since just took down one of God of War. So here, I'm just gonna, now I have to be serious. Especially they hype it up so much with God Serena, one of the 12 saints one of the 12 wizard saints for Arbiter's Kingdom or whatever they say, and that's just already creating too much hype. And he was part of the council until he leaves, right? So that's a lot of hype to build around, and now they have to keep that up. They can't ruin it. They just can't. But it's Fairy Tail. But we don't know. Tartarus arc gave me some hope. There are some hiccups here and there, mainly Urza battle, but it was still enjoyable and it was still something different in some form of way, as in not the battle wise, but more like a story content wise, the whole development where everybody actually had to sacrifice something. And then when they sacrifice something, they just they lose them forever or for a long time. And then sometimes they actually go to the next development, like Makarov losing, when Face was lost, he noticed that there's no manpower with the council anymore in Ishgar. So now it's like, crap, we only got Lumen Historia, and there's only one thing to do. We had to tell them that we still have this. So, but let's get to the chapter. So basically, they go into the continent. They really starting the mission up, and of course, Natsu is sick because you're on a boat ride, and of course that's something that's always gonna make him get sick because you can't traveling transportation is gonna make him sick and stuff like that. Mess, it's a good thing they actually mentioned about Mess. Why not just teleport there? But it's like, can't do something far. Simple as that. And now, unfortunately, Wendy is part of the crew of being sick from transportation. So, damn, that sucks. But anyway, yeah, she's part of it. Gray took them in, and somehow came out stripped. Kind of weird. But whatever, let's not try to think let's not overthink that scene. Point is, he come in and out. That's all you need to, never mind. Urza, as before, she's the master, she's the new guild leader, but she still likes to be called Urza, so not much has changed. And then they're talking about, it's interesting that they at least acknowledging that this is something up with this whole thing, with the idea that going all the way to help Makarov seems like it might be pointless or meaningless because of the whole Lumen Historia. So they don't know, they don't understand what's the purpose of Lumen Historia and why they want to steal it. Yes, it's Mavis. Yes, that's the first guild leader. Yes, we don't know if she's alive or she's already dead, but they just have her body because of spiritual reason or something. They don't know. But it's definitely, it's definitely equivalent to a weapon, at least according to Mess. So at least they're questioning on this, and it does make us wonder what exactly is so special about it. And I feel like maybe what they're doing right now could be pointless. So hopefully they're building this up to make them to make them realize all this is actually meaningless, and they will learn something of Lumen Historia from Makarov whenever they get to meet him, which hopefully that'll be soon. But you gotta give it time because the arc just started. So this does raise a lot of question about this whole Lumen Historia. So at least they're acknowledging there is a lot of questions in there. So it's good. It's good. It's good to see that instead of let it bypass. Because come on, that's something that is very strange to see. First guild leader Mavis in a crystal like. So you gotta really question something that's just some out of ordinary. So basically, they're just talking about how they're gonna get there, and they're going to end up stopping at a small town or a small island that's in between the two continents. It's called Carousel because, well, right now they don't really have that much supply and fuel to get over to the next continent. So unfortunately, that's gonna give us like a break. I guess it's like Alabasta arc from One Piece, where there's a lot of different traveling before we get to the main course of the Alabasta arc, with the whole rebellion. And the whole storyline, whole 9 yard. So I guess you could say Carousel is just a pit stop. I'm not sure if this is gonna do a lot of changes, but just judging by the end of the chapter, it seems that's the case. We go back to Gajio and Elfman and the rest. Actually, go and look for Laxus. So the way how they building up Laxus' appearance is interesting because it gives you the idea that Laxus is actually more he's gonna be more developed in terms of his power and maybe his look even, because the way how they hyping him up of not showing him, which he's the last person not to be he's the last person that hasn't been shown in a Fairy Tail guild. So interesting how they really hyping him up, and it's a good choice because Laxus is one powerful beast. And of course, Levy is following them as well because, well, she's the one that knows everything about this whole situation with the Ghost Arena and the whole Alabasta. See, I got Alabasta in my mind. Arbala's kingdom. So it's fitting that she would have to join, especially they need more manpower with Laxus be going behind them. And Gaja thinks she's already in the bag. He's like, wow, you're so small. I thought you were inside my bag. And Levy got upset. She just started punching. And then she went back to being serious because the enemy again, once again, they hyping two things. Laxus making a return. Pretty much we either get a new design of him, his new look, and most likely we're going to see him more powerful than ever. And the fact that this whole Ghost Arena being such a top tier that they have to be afraid, and hopefully it's not like a one-shot deal or just one-man deal. Come on, all this so far has been okay. It's been doing well, but I hope when we get to that point, it doesn't just go to waste. Going back to the carousel, they notice that the Alvarez Kingdom's Navy ship is there. So pretty much they get the idea. Well, I forgot to mention, Mess does have a spy waiting for them in the island. And unfortunately, the fact that Alvarez Kingdoms has arrived in the island gives you the impression that the spy, they know there's a spy. And Mess is like, crap, this is a much worse situation right now because they know there's a spy among them. And they're going to track him down and pretty much end him. Or her, maybe. You never know. We're gonna see that person, whoever that may be, either a brand new character or some old returning character that we may be surprised for. But pretty much they have no choice but they had to get in there. They had to sneak in and they had to find the spy before they find the spy themselves. There's a guards guarding around. There's a lineup, and the Fairy Tail Guild had to disguise himself. And luckily for Lucy and Urza, there's such a really pretty women that they could attract to the guards to the point that the guards is already phased. It's like, okay, you could go. So lucky for them to be that pretty, even though Charles Child thinks that Wendy and her made a huge difference to actually get the guards out of the way, but that's obviously not true. So, hey, whatever floats your boat, you know. Then Natsu, one funny thing about, I gotta admit, this part is actually kind of funny to me, with the whole build up with Natsu being told not to do anything rational, not to do anything bad, just behave. And, you know, they all keep focusing on Natsu because Natsu is the most likely guy who will just go outburst out of the random spite. So, you know, they keep telling him, behave, remember to control yourself, don't do anything, don't do that, don't do this and everything. And Natsu's like, why me? He's like, well, you're the only one that would just go crazy. So he's like, you know what, how about this? I'll be a ninja, like, would that be okay? I'll be a ninja. And see, ninja. So they built this up so much, and then when they get to the part where this kid wanted to meet his daddy because, well, I believe the guards just took him away. So, you know, they didn't like the scene. They didn't like the scene of the kid crying and the guards just being a dick to the kid. So unfortunately, that kid was about to get whacked by the guards until not Natsu breaking off the code, but everyone else in the guild minus Mess. So in other words, yeah, that was pointless. So, but I think that what makes it funny to me is because it's not just Natsu, it's actually everyone else. So in other words, they're the ones to talk because everybody just did it themselves. So okay, so and they didn't even show us like the frustration. They didn't show us the frustration from the other crew. We only see the frustration of Natsu. So you're only assuming Natsu will be the only one kicking ass. But instead, you see everyone else. One kicks, one punch, one knee, one protects the boy. So it's like, wow. All right, we're screwed. Like, Mess has that face of, okay, we're screwed. So, yeah, chapter ended with Natsu pretty much talking about, oh, I know Jessu. Yeah, I can eat my fist, no Jessu. Maybe that's a shot at Naruto, but who knows? It is coincidence, alright? Other than that, it was a neat chapter. I guess you could say not much really happened with this, but it was enjoyable because of the whole, the whole introduction of the arc. Now we finally get to moving on to see where we're going. We're getting to see a new island, but we're only stopping in the middle of the island, the middle of the between two continents, which is fine. And it is interesting that they did this whole stealth. Now they already break that stealth. I'm not sure they're even gonna try to do that again with Arbalest. I don't know how much big of a trouble they are in this situation because they're in this island. The kingdom from the other continent is there, so maybe one of the saints will be there. Maybe one of the top tier will be there. It should be interesting to see what's coming up for that. The whole build up with Laxus making a return, it seems interesting because that means Laxus is going to be not only make a strong impression, but maybe have a new appearance design. But we'll see on that when that happens. Other than that, it was neat. The arc just started. I'm gonna let that slide. You should too, because when it comes to arc beginning, it doesn't really go that crazy. I mean, it can, but in this case, it's susceptible. So I want to see how this is gonna lead to. Hopefully, again, they don't make it into fairy tale because just defeat the entire continent by themselves. I hope that's not the case. Yes, they are strong, but you gotta make it a little bit more challenging. Plus, we have a potential for a full-fledged war. Let's not waste that opportunity. The series sure got more interesting now that we're done chasing after Diani, which, I haven't reviewed the last chapter, but I will say in a quick thought, last chapter was actually really good. I really enjoyed that one because we still have the mysterious on the Diani's mentor, who's supposed to be like a sister, like Matrona, which we don't even know if she's truly alive or that's even her. She hasn't spoken a word. She hasn't told her who is she, why is she alive, how is this possible, anything like that. Only leaving a lot of good mysteries for us to know, to keep guessing until the time being. So I enjoyed that chapter, and then the ending of that chapter makes it more interesting to know that we finally get to see Meliodas and perhaps the reason why Meliodas has his power taken away by Merlin, or we just found out that he got his power taken away by her, but we haven't found out the reason why for it. Well, we're going to start to see more understanding on a whole Meliodas situation. And I guess it was given that he was going to be the first one to figure out how he's gonna get his power, how he's gonna get his power boost. So I guess it was pretty obvious if he was gonna go first. So now this chapter comes up, and this was pretty good. I really enjoyed this chapter from start to end. This chapter has like introduction to the Druids, which it was pretty amusing and pretty entertaining to see. It also, introduced a lot of questions, especially with the fact that like everything seems very smoothly, especially when the world they have is actually it's pretty unique because there's an entrance way that it looks like it's just ruins, only for one of them doors leads to some new world with a pillar and a little giant stone, which actually looks interesting to see, especially how the art design was drawn. And at the very end of the chapter is the most amusing and the most interesting aspect. Not just because it's just the ending and it's always like those cliffhanger, but the way how it's going to be presented. It's actually a different take on showing us the flashback, which is going to be very interesting because it seems like everything is all like a revisiting, but an emotional drama that we're going to see from Meliodas, no less. So we'll get to the beginning, and then we get to the whole, the whole 9 yard of this chapter. So basically, since Diane situation has to be on hold because she is being protected by someone else who could be, well, it's hard to say they could trust, but they know it's powerful and there's a reason why that person saved her. So they have to hope for the best that she'll be okay, and it's best to leave her away because they can only draw attention if they go to after Diane by the Ten Commandments. So it makes sense to why they had to leave her alone. Plus, it is her way to get her power up, so at least you could say that part is solved. We just had to leave off with Meliodas, Elizabeth, and the others in order to get their own power up. Now they go to the Jews' Holy Land, and it almost seems like there's nothing in there until Elizabeth see this big like a gateway entrance, and it felt like there was nothing, only to change into a road with rivers and a pillar, a tower with like a open house or something like that. It's like all rock like, but it is a nice illustration on that whole design with the Jews' Holy Land supposed to be. It's like, yeah, I guess you could say it does have that real fantasy, those fantasy that you see in role playing games. It has that sense of feeling, and that atmosphere that it has with the whole one road and all surrounded by a river line, and you could really see where the Nanatsu no Taizai got this inspiration from. So basically, they're meeting up the Druids for the first time, and they expect them. They always been expected them to come to them. So I guess they know. I guess they really know much better than they do. And seeing the Druids for the first time, you got this one tall guy. It's like, wow, you can't be messed with. Then you got these two ladies. They pretty much look like somebody that will just escort you, and it tells you some mythology and a lot of. It gives you that sense of look. The only one that seems like is connected to that kind of character is to the left side of the picture, which we should get to introduce of the name right now. So, again, when you look at the image, it almost seems like you get the idea already. One is a huge bodyguard. The right side might be like one of those person that is scorched, and it just tells you a lot of stories. And then all of a sudden, once Hawk trying to introduce himself, he gets he gets poked by a stick by Jenna, who all of a sudden now she's like had a different sense of imagery, with her being just a I guess she just likes to mess around with anything that befalls her. Then he just started poking. Hawk is like, "Oh crap, let it go with me." It's the images is already changing, and to make matter worse, the big guy Dero, once he started talking, he looks like such a child, only to find out that he's actually 15 years old. He's like, "Holy crap, kid!" And the reaction, you only get this small bubble from Hawk and Slender. It's like, a kid? I would have thought the same too. Like, how does a kid? Like, damn, he's tall. He's like muscular, everything. It's just, what the hell? So again, the imagery is already messing you up. The only one that actually seems to keep up with that image is Zanali. It was the black hair, I believe, dark hair. I'm going to just say dark hair because, manga, you could have any kind of type of color hair in this case. But a dark hair who happened to see Elizabeth and then just turn away. I guess that means there's something that with Zanali and Melodus, especially with the next panel with her kind of forcing Melodus to touch her chest area, and Melodus back away from that. Which I guess that truly means that if you're getting touched by Melodus, that means you're in good luck, because that means he is interested in you. I can't say that's the best thing to. I can't say that you should be honored, but hey, if you love the guy, then you should be honored. Whatever that works, whatever works for you. But basically, you get the idea of what Melodus' interest lies on. So basically, now that the introduction with the Jews got out of the way, everybody looks deceiving except for Zanali. Zanali seems very true to the imagery of the character design. But anyway, Melodus want to get this whole training, want to get this on the road, because right now, of course they got to get this power up right now. And now they're gonna have Zanale to go to the tower, that long tower, and also going to, well, I guess you could say it's a spiral or spear, whatever. And Elizabeth's joining in. I don't know why. Maybe she would come next in training, because she is part of that too as well. So it's like two birds with one stone. I do find it a little bit. I do find it good that King still has this grudge with Goddard. I mean, you can't really blame him. You could say anything about with his relationship with Diane or anything like that, but the fact that Goddard is the one that causes problem with Diane losing the memory and almost got herself killed. So King still has the right to be so pissed off at Goddard, even if it's just a small comment. And, Arthur, he's still not ready, and he's just going to stay behind. He is good. He is the king, and he has to get ready to be confident in everything. I mean, he was doing good in the last arc, but now, he has to stand up soon. He has to be brave. He's King Arthur. He has to be strong. But, of course, his time is not up yet. And he already has a huge potential. It's just a matter of time. So those situations needs to be solved soon, especially Goddard, because he needs to relax, he needs to chill down and just need to understand the atmosphere. Now they have the feeling that maybe something about this whole Druze knowing them coming seems to be too good. Maybe it's just the way it is, or maybe there's something that they don't. Maybe it's something they're not aware, and maybe they have to, maybe they just need to prepare themselves for the worst. But I don't know. It's hard to say. It seems everything does go smoothly. Maybe it is meant to be smoothly. It's hard to say, but at least they acknowledge that feeling, because it is true. It does feel like everything goes too well, So again, Elizabeth got the idea that Zanali and Meliodas seems to have some sort of relationship, maybe. And she was a bit jealous there, but hey, I guess it's hard. And Meliodas has met a lot of women, even though only one love is really Liz. So, speaking of that, this is where the interesting part comes in. He's doing the test in order to get his power back. And Meliodas got the impression that the power is going to be, it's going to be like a training or like, oh, I got to fight this big monster. Oh, I got to fight him and that. But instead, Zanali warned him that it's going to be the most painful and triumphant challenge he's going to face. And it's up to him, he can do it or not. So again, it gives him the impression it's going to be like some training ground, only to have him going back in time, and with that same mental mind state. It's not like he's watching a visual; he is in the visual, and he's back in Donafor. So, in other words, the training is to face his own emotion and face his memory, the memory that is a nightmare to him, and that is going back to the time where Liz is still alive, only up to the point that she dies by the hands of, I forgot the name, Fredrin. So I believe that's and the point is, this is our flashback. For us, this is our way to see his flashback, and I thought this was a very good idea to showcase that flashback. Not only because we get to see what happened in the past, not only we're gonna find out if Meliodas truly destroyed the country Donafor after the incidents with Liz being, taken away by that demon, but we get to also see his emotion in jeopardy, his emotion actually being taken into account, and not just the past emotion, but the current emotion as well. What makes it very telling was the last panel, or second last panel in that case, but the last page, a double spread page, with Meliodas turning around, seeing Liz, but that expression of his is something we hardly see from him. So seeing that is just very telling, which, by the way, has a really detailed hair. But anyway, that's our way to see the flashback. We're not seeing the flashback like it's just in the flashback's way, but we're going to see how Meliodas is going to challenge that and probably have the mindset of the present while enduring the past, which is going to haunt him and is going to hurt him drastically. So this is an interesting way to see the flashback of him. I don't know if we're going to go all the way, because it all depends on Meliodas. If he could fight it and if he could survive it, we will see the entire story. If we can't, we may have to wait for more. But it's definitely going to be an interesting way to see how it's going to be handled. So other than that, really good chapter. I really enjoyed this chapter. Seeing the Drew's introduction was fun. Seeing this ending is very interesting. This whole more interaction from these characters. Again, the Drews are interesting to see. This whole new landscape is nice to see. The idea of how to get the power back, at least for Meliodas, is to fighting his emotion, is really fitting to his character, especially trying to get that power back. So it's really going to make a lot of things interesting to see how this all goes down. So yes, pretty good chapter. Definitely looking forward to the next one. So we end this podcast episode with none other than Tokyo Ghoul, and it's already starting to be a really interesting arc since the last chapter, which I kind of wish I'd comment more about the last chapter, because the last chapter was a ceremony, and it was a really good, interesting start off to see where this is going to lie in for Sasuke as well as Shu. And I really caught on that this whole cover chapter is actually resembled to the last series, which actually almost looks similar, but obviously an updated design and updated status. So, it was a fitting time for Ishida to even include this. And so really makes me remember on that last series, and it was a nice connection, a nice parallel, as you can say. So yeah, a lot of things has changed from the last series into this series. But this whole chapter was very interesting. It was nice. It was subtle. It was really done well, and technically, where we're just starting to learn where this arc is going to now, because the last chapter is more of a ceremony of their accomplishment from the past. And that was a really nice chapter, seeing how many interaction with Sasaki, especially with him trying to fight off over himself about this whole Kaneki one. And in due time, he has to become Kaneki once more, or more like creating a new person in general. Something with Sasaki and Kaneki all in one, then it would be like someone different. Point is, Sasaki cannot be himself because he's going to end up being someone else eventually, which is going to be sad to see how that's going to go down for Sasaki. But in due time, I guess. And this is a series that knows tragic, so don't be too surprised about it. Anyway, this chapter is introducing more and more about the Tsukuyama family, which is good to know. I also appreciate the fact they actually explained this whole Kagaja. The fact that these guys are cannibal, and yet they don't get the Kagaja for whatever reason, or rather they prevent to getting the Kagaja. So Master Miyomo, who is the father of Shu, he's in the sitting chair thinking of the whole Shu situation, and then also saying out loud that the family are actually married to each other. So this whole family are doing an incest way in order to prevent Kagaja. But now that Shu is in the verge of going Kagaja mode, maybe it's best for him to do so. But it is going against the family tradition. So this is it. So yes, the last chapter, he's definitely going to Kagaja mode. He's nearly entering that state of mind, and Miyomo is really having a troublesome time trying to handle the situation. So I guess his way to handle it is pretty much go out to the window, open it up hard, pretty much break it, and just scream, "Wah!" I know. At least we know where the family comes from. Shu, when he got his wackiness from. Well, it gives me a good impression with Miyomo. I am interested to see more of him because, him being a father, and he's possibly very strong too. So there's a lot of interesting aspects coming from this whole family dilemma. More of Shu and his father, not going against each other, but the fact that Shu is losing his mind and is losing his grip on holding off from Kagaja. So yes, we're going to see more of Shu in this arc, and hopefully for the fans of Shu, at least, and even me, just as a reader himself, hopefully he will get back in his mindset, and hopefully he will stop being depressed, because now that Kaneki technically is still there, at least he would know, but maybe the memory part will bother him, and maybe if Sasaki and Shu would meet up each other, maybe it would be more mental challenge for Sasaki in terms of trying to fight off Kaneki. I mean, they'd partner up, sure, but he doesn't want it to remember the entire memory to the point it erase Sasaki completely. He wants to do it slowly and try to hopefully find a good best way to solve this, but time is going fast, so he better hurry up. And he's supposed to meet that mysterious guy, which we all know is going to be Amon. But in due time, I guess. Everything is about due time. So, yeah, if you think about it, everything is all race to time in this series. So, Kanai comes in and just, of course, he's like a servant to them. And that's where it ends. But we all remember that Kanai serves under the Tsukuyama family, which brings to this part of CCG new mission, and that is the whole recent mass kidnapping. And they actually compared the two Quinke, or rather the Kagane, I'm sorry, they actually compared the two Kagane situations, two photo. Well, it almost seems like it's the same thing, but actually they, when they compare the data matches, they're basically a 27% match. So, it is suggested they're not closely related, but they are related by blood. So it seems like, now it also connects to the whole Roswell family, which last chapter we actually get to see more of, well, not a lot more, but we get to see a little bit more on Kanai's part, where he came from, this whole Roswell family. So basically, this is one way to transition to the whole Tsukiyama family with starting with Kanai. So this could be a way for them to do so. What I find it interesting is that they actually talk about Ayato and Toka and like the whole traces of Kagane. They basically figured out that there are two rabbits rather than one rabbit. They always believed there was one rabbit, but now they got the idea that there's two of them. So I think it feels like it's insignificant, but at the same time, it may be not. It may be very important because it may get Ayato and Toka dragged into this mess in due time. So it's a good sign if you really want to see Toka. Granted, I don't want her to get in trouble, and I don't want her to get her life messed up again. I mean, we don't know what's her backstory at this time, but still, let's not wish for fight like this way. But we'll see what happens. I would love to see her back, but it feels like we have to deal with Tsukiyama family, which is not bad because it's deal with Shu, a character from the past, from the last series, whatever you want to call it. Not only that, it does parallel to the last series with the third or the second arc of the series, focus on Shu. So it seems like a parallel. I guess that means the next arc will be intense. It will be something that maybe Sasaki will be like accepting himself. Maybe, Ogiri arc was very heavy development for a lot of characters, especially for the protagonist. So basically, the next mission is the whole investigation on this whole Roswell and this whole ghoul predators as they probably think that's the case. Seeing where this mass kidnapping coming in. Now I remember saying that Ayato was gonna get trouble, and he's definitely testing their patience right now because he wants to save Hinami. Now, at least his friends or comrades, whatever you want to call them at this time, they're trying to back him up by saying like, she is pretty helpful. Her sense is way better than everyone else. With talent like that is rare. So, getting her back will actually helps a lot. And, she's trying to. It seems like they're trying to help Ayato, which seems nice. I like that. I hope if Ayato does separate himself from Ogiri, I hope some of them, or if not all of them, like Naki, Miza, and even that torso guy, Psycho. If they join him, I find that I will appreciate how much they care for Ayato. Especially they did like his method of abandoning mission and save themselves, which they appreciated. Especially Miza thought that was a great idea, rather than try to go back to help Madam and just get themselves killed because there were too many CCG. Especially where later on Anima shows up, they will all would have died there. So, I'm hoping they sided with Ayato. They sided with him in this one, but Totoro, he really don't give a shit. He's a guy that believes that everybody can be replaced with no harm, with no second option. It's all about him just doing the mission, and it's all about getting what they want. And Totoro is pretty much just like that. Ayato is really, really getting frustrated with this whole thing, and it makes it worse that he really wants to save Hinami, and Takizawa has the nerve to taunting his emotions, taunting his feeling by saying like, she didn't went to fight me, she went to save Sasaki. So it's like, he can't bear the mind of Sasaki being saved by Hinami, the one that was supposed to belong to Ogiri. And then Totoro just tells him, just screwed it off because everybody's a replacement. Everybody can be replaced, and you're just a stray dogs that just behave themselves. So pretty much he's at the point that if Ayato do something wrong again, I do believe they're gonna treat him hell, if not just kill him altogether. So Ayato is at the one last straw, which I do believe he's gonna cause that. And seeing his comrades looking at the situation, it gives that bad feeling, especially where he come out of nowhere, just everybody saying they're just stray dogs, and even Tadara admit that. So what a douche. But yeah, then we get the flashback with Ayato meeting Hinami, and it's good to see that we actually see that flashback, which is really nice. And Hinami come out such a nice person, not being all afraid, instead of being so happy to meet Ayato, because she remembers Onechan, which is Toka, seeing the same resemblance, since they are brothers and sisters. And Ayato's like, huh. And I guess from that time, from 3 years ago, actually, growing up, and now Ayato seems like very, very upset. And, of course, Izo had to tell him, be like, oh, that's so sad. It's like, bitch. But I do wonder how this is going to happen with Ayato trying to rescue Hinami. It's definitely going to be interesting. And I am looking forward to when Ayato finally splits off from Ogiri. And my assumption that he's going to join with Ri. I think he's going to bury Hatcher with Toka, and I think he's going to get more and more nicer side. Right now, he's much nicer in this series, or more like we're starting to see why. We're starting to see more of him. No more of a bad attitude from the last series. Now it seems like we're seeing more of a good attitude. Granted, he still kills the CCG and human in general. Well, CCG, but still, he is still a caring guy, at least to his own team. I'm not sure you could say Hinami got part of it, but you could say Hinami did get him in a more positive emotional side. So yeah, I'm trying not to start this whole shipping thing. Right now, if you really want to believe that Ayato is in fact interested in Hinami more than that sense, be my guest. But I'm just gonna let it hold it up. But it does have a chance. But I'm not in that boat. All right. So speaking of Nami, they get Sasaki and Hinami actually start to talk to each other, doing some investigation, because she is an important ghoul that has a lot of information on Ogiri, and it seems like you get the idea that Sasaki must go to her in order to obtain more information, because there's a camera that's seeing them. So it's like, if you're not getting any more information from this and you're only there for talking, what the hell is you wasting time? And it only gives you that bad impression for the CCG. So it felt like he has no choice but, have to really get more information on that. Especially she's on a clock, where if they have no more use of her, they will kill her. So that's really hard. It's got to be brutal for her. But it was nice to see Sasaki giving her the book, which again resembles to Kaneki. So a lot of things really connects it to the book, because ever since the past, where Hinami starts to learn to read, it was all done by the book, and it was all done by Kaneki, teaching her the words by words, and have her understand a lot of writings and read a lot of books. So it all connects back to that. And they're talking about, they're both, after finding out the more information on the Ogiri, the whole S-ray above, whatever, they start to get a personal conversation, stuff like, do you really think I'm your big brother? And you could tell he's like, he doesn't understand himself, because he seems so struggled. Seeing the panel with him, like, folding his hand, really giving the impression that he really doesn't know if he's okay. being the former Kaneki, and seems like not giving Hinami a good impression of him, because it's like, well, you seen your big brother, but the fact is, the memory of that is not there. I'm a new person. I'm Sasaki. So, it kind of make him feel like guilty. And he to the point he says sorry, because, he's trying to do his best, but he is a different person, so to speak, in a way. I mean, in a way, he's still similar. In a way, he is Kaneki. It's just have a different mindset. I'm a CCG. I'm like a mother to these Q squad. This, I'm that. It's not like I'm gonna teach you how to read a book. I'm a ghoul. I'm gonna help you with you ghouls. I'm gonna protect you guys. Stuff like that. And I was like a little opposite, but it's not really his fault. You know what I mean? Understands where he's coming from, and even though it is a different person, even though she knows that he's a different person, she does get sad about it. But at the same time, it feels like seeing him, the way how he acts, the way how he is, like overthinking stuff. It's the same thing as Big Brother. Even the books, it's the same thing like Kaneki. So it's like, it gives you the impression that Sasaki and Kaneki are still the same. They're still the same person. And it has a different mindset, like him being the CCG, being the enemy of Hinami, so or at least in the status wise, because of course, he has no grudge with her. He has nothing with her. There's not. She's important for CCG. She's important for letting know the information of Ogiri, but there was never that reason. It was more of a reason, just she was just another ghoul to kill off. But of course, Sasaki wanted to imprison her, or rather, adopt her in order to say the excuse of getting the information. And then Akira really has a bad vibe because she was part of the whole murder incidents of her father. So it's a lot of things that are going against these two. And Sasaki is still having an emotional problem, or more of a mental problem with him not knowing what to do. Again, Sasaki feels like he is Kaneki, and he feels like he got the mindset of it by thinking, what should I do? What is the good idea to do? Do I want to help her? Why do I want to help her? Why do I want to save her? Why did she have to go all through this? And it gives him that sympathy feeling of a ghoul, which is something that he hasn't felt. Something he hasn't felt as the character, as Sasaki at least. Kaneki, technically he switched people's side, so this one is more like, trying to be so conflicted himself with his own feelings as well as the feelings of Kaneki. So it's rather sad. I don't know where this is going to end up for Sasaki, but I guess that's what makes it very interesting to see how it all lands into. Then we have this weird, creepy guy, Kojima. I think that's how you say it. Kojima. He's weird, and he was taunting his emotion, being so truly affectionate. He pretty much taunting Sasaki, and he has some strange scar, and it gave me a weird vibe of the characters. And it makes it more weird that he actually knows Sasaki name right off the bat. So, but then again, he is famous, but still, it doesn't give me an easy vibe. It doesn't give me a good vibe at all. It just gives me shaky feeling. And before we end the chapter, what makes it very interesting note, I found out on the same day after I read the chapter by somebody actually posted about this guy who was telling Kojima Furuta, that person actually is the same person, the one that Toka actually thought that was Kaneki back in the last series. You remember the scene where Toka actually ran into somebody that looks like Kaneki because of the hair design, the haircut and everything. Only when he turned around, it ends up being some other guy. That's that guy, the one that was like the big panel where he turns around with a little mole in his right eye cheek. That's him. This is really him. I'm sorry. It was the it was the right eye. Is it the right eye? I'm trying to remember where is it at. Yeah, supposedly that is him, and it's strange. I didn't think we would get that much of a connection from this series, especially the way how with it was the left eye. I think it was the left eye. I trying to remember. I got to see the panel again, but yeah, that's him. The haircut, everything. And we gotta remember, this is 3 years later, so it's pretty much assumption that he's done with college, the university. He's done, and now he's a CCG investigator, alongside with the associate special class one, the Kojima weird looking guy. So I don't know if there's any significant. Maybe if he goes to Ri and see Toka, maybe they would start up something, like it would start up something into interesting route, maybe, I don't know, but it is interesting to see where Ishida decided to use the character from the last series, which was very insignificant at the time, but now all of a sudden he's there. Maybe it's just a coincidence. I can't say it's not. I can't say it's not. It's not about like rehashing the design, but more like just use that design because it doesn't really matter. It's not gonna be that important. But hey, you never know. The way how they panelize this, you never know. So interesting, a very interesting start off for the new arc, and we get to more information. The Tsukuyami family. We get to see more interaction with Hinami and Sasaki, which is really interesting. Ayato struggling inside with the thought of Hinami just being let go, even though we know he's not going to let that go, which should be interesting to see how he's going to end up in. And yeah, it's a lot of good informative information in this chapter. It's a lot of interesting route we could go. And we haven't the action or anything like where to do now. I mean, we get the idea we're going to do this. They're going to do this whole Rose case, which is gonna lead to Kanai, and then we're gonna end up to the Tsukuyami family, which I'm pretty sure that's how it's gonna work out. But other than that, it's definitely gonna be an interesting chapter, interesting arc. So yeah, already I'm really hyped for this. This is a good sign. It's a really good sign. Can't wait how this all deals with. I really can't wait. It's just this series, man. It just doesn't stop flowing in a really, really hype route. And that's it for today's episode. Hope you guys enjoy my returning from the past. Okay, I only came back for 2 weeks later. But hopefully you guys enjoy my podcast episode, and hopefully you tune in for the Fridays, which should be interesting with One Piece. Because, last week One Piece chapter was really great. I enjoyed that chapter a lot. And Bleach was actually good. At first it felt a little bit odd to see the whole flashback with some characters that you'll probably just forget in due time. But I did like the fact they actually connected to the actual main arc group, the Stern Ritter, whatever how you say it. It's a good, interesting. It was an interesting way to connect to that part. And what was the other? Boku no Hero Academia is definitely getting interesting. I'm liking where this is going, and it's nice to see more than just Deku situation. We also see Ida or Tenya to see where they're heading so far. So that is getting good too. So hopefully you guys start to try to check it out yourself, because I know it's still underrated and a lot of people's radar. It's definitely something that I guess you could say you need an anime in order to get everybody hype or anybody to be interested, because that's what anime does. They give you the interest of reading the manga itself from the original source at these times. So, hopefully when the anime comes, hopefully it'll be done well, and hopefully it'll have a good song, because I need a song to make a transition for this. So I need something. I can't, it's just a blank space. Maybe I should just use Superman theme again. Maybe. Just maybe. I'll see. So yeah, again, spread the words to everybody else about this channel. You can subscribe here still if you haven't already. And that's it. I'll just be back for the Friday's episode. And until then, I'll see you next time for more Sparda's World Podcast. Take care, everyone.